From News Chopper 11, hovering just outside the Crab Nebula, it's nerd news from Asteroid G. You're listening to Not So Live from Asteroid G. I'm Mike Finkelstein. With me, as always, is...
Josh Schaefer.
And...
Queen Bee.
And we are talking nerd news once again here. And I believe, honestly, for the second month in a row, this is going to be a coronavirus primarily nerd news because, let's face it, there's not really much else to talk about at this point. It's like I've been watching the clips of Last Week Tonight on YouTube, and for like 6 weeks in a row now, John Oliver's opened his show every time with coronavirus, because what else do we get to talk about right now? We're all stuck at home, and there's a quarantine going on.
I can see outside my house now.
You couldn't before?
I was in the basement.
Oh, because you're recording in a different room. I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Is that your news? I can see outside my house.
Yes.
Wow.
So, nerd news topic 1. Josh can see the outdoors. So, how do you feel about the outdoors, Josh?
It's sunny.
This has been Josh's outdoor moment here on Not So Life from Asteroid G. So,
I didn't want to go outside.
So, coronavirus. So, we are deep into the quarantine at this point, or I guess stay-at-home orders is probably the better, more accurate way to put it. But certain states are already looking at trying to reopen, which I think is really fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, there's only been... I think it's safe to say thousands of reasons why not to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe 50,000?
Yeah.
Now, be honest. Is it not a good? I mean, I know the reason why, but is it? Do you really not want it to reopen because if it does, then you have to go back to your actual workspace, or?
No. At this point,
No.
my job is actually talking about the fact that we're like teleworking really well at this point, and they're realizing that people don't necessarily need to be in the office. So they're
nice.
they're talking about like making this a more permanent thing, or like doing like a rotation roster or something down the road, so that we don't have to be in most of the time.
Yeah.
And even like some of the office space they have right now, they're talking about like subletting it and letting like other businesses move in to use floors, so that we don't have to be there as often. Because if the floors are going to sit empty, condense it down and do something else with it. So.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
my job already had 2 of the 5 days we could work from home, and they're talking about just making it, if you want to work from home, do it. If you want to come in the office, cool.
That's cool.
What if?
Yeah.
Nice.
No, the real reason why it's stupid is because we don't know, A, if people who get the coronavirus are immune from it afterwards, and the science is saying they probably aren't and could get it again or get some mutated variant because this is a virus that likes to mutate quickly. We don't know, B, like how long the coronavirus is going to take to really burn itself out. If we open everything up again now and then winter hits with a nasty flu season, we could have an even worse resurgence of the coronavirus come winter time. There are all kinds of reasons not to reopen the government for most stuff, because reopening it is only going to encourage the virus to get worse and spread more.
Yeah, and I've read something too where they think that there's 2 different strains right now, like there's like a European version which is way deadlier, which is why like New York and Europe has been, has a huge death toll, but the one that came from China didn't mutate as much, so like the West Coast and Asia's, that's why their numbers are lower.
I thought you were like there's a European version and there's an American version that's lazier and sits on the couch.
I think that's the Midwest version. But being in Indiana, that kind of sucks because we get both sides of it,
We do.
like.
Yeah.
So
That's why I'm
I
staying
went-
home. No.
yeah, same.
Yeah. Oh my god. I just
Like I already got the asthmas. That's not going to be pleasant.
So you and I, huh?
Yeah, I just don't understand why people are being so boneheaded about it.
Well, that's people. I mean,
States' rights.
the same people that are like, I want to tell other people what they can do, are then like, I don't want people telling me what I can do. It's like, oh,
Exactly.
guys, it
Yeah.
goes, you can't, it has to cut both ways. Like, there's no other way to look at it. Ugh.
It's my right to be infected, but it's my right to not be infected, though, right? Like,
Yeah, right? Just the oh my god. You've stunned me to words with that.
And it's like, why are you all of a sudden pro-life or pro-choice? Because before you didn't think we should have choices.
You know, I've heard that there are people like, when it comes to this issue, I am pro-choice. Like, do you hear the words that are coming out of your mouth?
Yeah, it's just like, honestly, like any argument that they have going forward is just, I don't care. Like, they don't have they just want to be dicks to be dicks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, but for good news, I did get my mail-in vote. So for voting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I did get that.
Indiana has that thing where you can fill out a form and send it in, and they will let you vote by mail. And the city of Indianapolis sent that to everyone.
Yes.
I didn't get that.
Are you in Indianapolis?
Yes.
I thought you were in Greenwood.
Nope.
Oh. Well, you should get it soon, and if you don't, you can go find it on their website. I don't have the address off the top of my head, but it is there.
You don't even have to mail it. You can just put it in via email.
Oh, nice. That's a new that's a change they just made because they were telling us that we had to send it originally. I mean, I got the form in the mail, so I just filled it out and dropped it in because, you know, postage paid and all that, whatever.
Right.
Easy enough. And then I'll get my actual ballot by mail in June, and that is lovely. I will not complain about that. Huh?
Yeah, just so that we don't have to go out anymore. Across the street from us, there's a birthday party. Or not necessarily a party, but the mom's birthday is going on. So huge sign that says "Happy Birthday, Mom." And the kids were saying they should go next door and just steal it and put it on my lawn. And I'll just go, well, I don't. It's not my birthday. I don't know who did this.
Right?
Also, I hope that they don't have a bunch of people out front of their like house like partying.
No, not currently. Not that it would bother us. We weren't invited.
Well, no, it's just because social distancing. They shouldn't be throwing a party. Guys.
Right.
Guys.
Yeah, they're doing this thing in our township, where you can adopt a senior, you know, like get them a gift card or something because, you know, they don't get a graduation. And I signed up for it, just, you know, whatever, it sucks.
High school senior. I thought you were talking about like a senior citizen.
No, high school seniors.
Into my house? Ew.
No. But it's just like, you know, words of encouragement type stuff, which is cool. But like, someone was like, we should get all of the seniors together to do a group picture. And it's like, did you not know what a quarantine means, man? Like,
if you were gonna do that, you may as well have the fucking graduation at that point, dumb shits.
People aren't the smartest.
Clearly not high school seniors in this area. Wow.
Like, and then like everyone's like, "This is a great idea," and I was like, "You know what? I think I'm just gonna leave this group because I'm gonna get kicked out."
Wow. So let's move on to other topics because we do have a couple of other things we can talk about. One of them being the fact that the Democrats now finally have a nominee, just one, not the 2 or 3 they were battling it out with. And I think for most of us, it's probably not the nominee that we wanted, but it's certainly not a nominee that we are going to hate.
No, and he's come out and said that we should not ingest disinfectants. So
already better than the president we currently have.
Exactly.
So we're not supposed to drink bleach, right?
As far as I know.
What is surprising to me is that had to be explained to people. Like,
I actually wasn't upset with any Republican who wants to drink bleach. You go right ahead.
Right?
Not to live for Asteroid G does not encourage people to drink bleach.
You mean the 5 people are listening to us are Republicans?
Might be 6. Okay, that's fair. They're probably all Democrats at this point. But no, I mean, you're gonna say.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't think anyone. Yeah, never mind. Go.
But it's this. Okay, so it's not Sanders, who I think, Josh, were you wanting for Sanders?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's not Warren, who I really wanted, and it's not. I can't say his name.
Buttigieg.
There you go. Whatever.
I wanted a Biden Buttigieg ticket. That was my dream goal.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Josh.
I would have said
either way, like Buttigieg first, but I wanted not Biden, Sanders to get the presidency and then die in office so Buttigieg could take over.
That's dark. Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Buttigieg seems smart. He knows a ton of languages. He has a certain amount of foreign experience because he served in the military. He's gay, so he's going to be a little more attuned to that demographics needs and wants. There was something about him that didn't quite click with me, though.
He was a little too Pinterest for me personally, but I think as much as I want someone more left-leaning, I think after someone like Trump, who's severely to the right, you need someone more centrist to get the country to be a little bit.
I kind of feel like
together.
you could have an arch conservative Russian wrestler as the president, and they'd somehow be less conservative than the position Trump is taking. My God. and now we welcome to the floor our new president, Mother Russia.
I thought that's who the president was already.
Okay, that might be fair. So, no, I'm perfectly okay with Biden as the presidential nominee. I think
the rapey stuff is kind of...
But, okay, I'm not going to downplay what the woman is saying, necessarily. I would want to see more evidence. When you have because you raised this, when you have the claims that have been made against Trump and against other people on the other side of the aisle, and there is a lot of, not just, reports from them, but a lot of their friends come out of the woodworks and can corroborate the story to a T, and there's other incidental evidence like signed yearbooks or other things that seem to back up the story. I accept it. I think there's enough evidence there. We have one person who's come out, and normally it's not just one, but maybe it is just one in this instance. I'm not going to say that it's not. But we have one person who comes out, and the people she brings forward give conflicting statements no, she didn't say this, and then later they're well, maybe she did say this, It's it doesn't seem as backed up, and that's my only reason why I'm having my doubts.
The issue though that I'm running into it is I'm not one of those oh, don't trust the media type people, but it's weird to me there was a story I think yesterday or the day before, and today's April 26th, just for the record.
Okay.
But a couple days ago there was a story where in the 90s, whenever this alleged event was supposed to happen, the lady's mom actually called in to the Rush Limbaugh. What's the dude on CNN's name? Spacing on it.
I don't watch CNN.
Old leathery guy who's been on the news forever.
Larry King.
Larry King. Jesus. But
you gave me the right descriptor of him, so I knew instantly who you're talking about.
Next was gonna be with suspenders, but he
that would have clued me in perfectly.
But her mom called in and said that it's my daughter works for a very powerful congressman and was sexually harassed and she was fired. And this was within the timeline. CNN took that episode off of their website and changed their episode numbers for that show, their backlog of the show, to make it so it doesn't look like it exists anymore. And I think stuff and I get that from a media and a marketing perspective. You don't want the crazy wackadoos, just kind of holding on to that, but at the same time, that's just ammunition for the right to say, that everything that Trump is saying is true because...
Okay, but here's the side thing. Trump can't use this as a statement to be you shouldn't vote for Biden because of these things, because, let's face it, that's the pot calling the kettle black. There's a reason why Trump doesn't play up those issues.
Drew, you do remember that when he was running against Hillary, he brought all the women that testified against Bill Clinton to a press conference before one of their debates.
Yeah, but he didn't... Here is my thing there. You can do that for President Clinton, for Bill Clinton, because everyone's instantly going to buy it, and they're going to think that he's even worse than Trump. Because, he got impeached over it. Or at least
impeached for lying about it.
Well, but it's in the heads of people, he got impeached for it. You are correct.
Yeah.
He got impeached for the lying of it, not for the actual
semantics.
act. But yeah, it is semantics. We have one source from Biden, or about Biden right now, that may or may not be credible, and that's as far as I'm going to take on the matter, because I'll want to see more.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, there's no... Well, that's the issue with stuff like that, because there's never any proof, and
the ammunition is harder for Trump to use, is all I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah. Especially because it then calls into light even more stories that have come out about Trump in the time since he's been elected president.
Yeah.
So, but it is something that we'll have to bear in mind, and if more of this comes out from more sources, then it's really going to hurt Biden, and you have to hope that kind of stuff comes out before he gets the nomination officially, so he can drop out and Sanders or Warren can get the nomination.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. You have all these allegations against Biden about one incident. Then you have about 15 allegations or 50 allegations against our current president.
It's starting to become Bill Cosby levels, yeah.
Right. So is it about the rape, or is it about just trying to discredit Biden as a nominee?
Well, and the way you put it, it's about discrediting Biden. I agree with that. But the way you put it, Josh, was it a sexual harassment or was it an actual rape?
That's where it gets confusing for me, because some places make it sound like it was just, a full-on rape, and then other places make it sound like it was just harassment.
I'm not saying that it didn't happen.
Yep.
I'm just saying that or that I'm not saying that she wasn't harassed, but is it possible that she was already being let go and then decided, you have to look at both sides. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, but there's so many people who have come out against this situation, and it's so easy to discredit people when they're going, like, why didn't she try to discredit him when he was vice president? Why wait this long? Really?
Yeah. And that's my thing
the problem I have.
Same. And I know it's probably tough for her if it did happen, but at the same time, it's a little late.
It feels a little weird. Now, if we get another person or two come out of the woodwork to with their own stories that line up with it, then totally, I'm 100% be like, oh man, Biden, I think at this point you need to drop out, because now it's starting to sound like you really did do this kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, but you are right. I hate to say something like that, but there is a slim possibility that she was going to be fired for some reason, and she came up with this story, and now she's just using it because, there was a Larry King episode where her mom called in about it to try and, sway the Congress's mind or something, and you're like, okay, now is this real, or is this something she made up, and how do we accept it? And that comes back to the burden of proof, which sadly is hard to do in these cases. That's why we need a lot more tangential evidence and a lot more stuff to just back up the idea that Biden may have been this. Just because he's a touchy-feely guy, which no one is debating, he's way too touchy-feely, does not mean that that's enough evidence on its own to accept a story like this.
Yeah,
right.
no.
So,
and I think that, I don't know, it's kind of risky on the Democrat side just because of that, but I kind of wonder what would have happened if
it's the thing of, we have to see if more stuff comes out after he becomes the nominee officially, then that's a problem. But one instance like this where we can't really know for sure is not enough. And when you're looking at that against the angry old man that is Sanders, and apparently the person no one wants to elect, which is Buttigieg and Warren, Biden's the one that we're going to be stuck with, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel because I don't I'm gonna vote for whoever the Dem is anyway.
Nope.
Or
you got a D, I am in.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
But I feel like it was a misstep on the Democrat side, because Trump's been campaigning against Biden since he's won.
He has, but he's been campaigning in a way that says, I'm desperately trying to find something that sticks.
And with the impeachment stuff, because that kind of centered around Hunter Biden a little bit.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's not like Trump almost has a 50-50 even split on whether or not he should have been impeached, as far as the voter base goes. So I'm hopeful that this won't happen, but it kind of makes me nervous that it's going to be too close to call again. But fortunately, Trump can't speak very well, and he's an idiot, so...
Too close to call. It's definitely going to be too close to call the night of. And this gets to another key point of news that we can talk about, which we've kind of halfway already raised, which is the the vote by mail, because it seems like there's going to be a lot of states that will have vote by mail put in place for the federal election at the end of the year. And those are kind of like, if you have it in the mail by the date of the election, then it can still count even if it comes in a week or two later. So we won't really know the status of the election until probably a week or two after it actually happens. And so we're going to get a lot of people like CNN and Fox trying to declare one person the winner or another, and we won't really know that for certain for like the swing states until like start of December probably.
Yeah, and I'm kind of worried too that Trump's going to take this all the way to the end. Like, it's going to go to the Supreme Court. I guarantee it.
It could, and then we just have to see how that plays out, because it's a stacked court in his favor, and that would suck.
Yeah, but
as far like there are certain instances that the Supreme Court's not going to overrule. The states have the state right to set how their elections work. The states have their state rights to determine when the election happens, how it happens, how votes are counted, how things are done. And as long as they follow the rules that are declared within their own constitutions for all of that stuff and the laws that are on the books, the Supreme Court won't overrule it, because that's what their ruling has been time and again. So it's just a matter of if the states try and implement new stuff to make voting easier or anything along that line. Once the states declare an elector or who their electors are going to, and that's backed up by their numbers, there really isn't much the Supreme Court will probably do at that point. So it's really just a matter of if a massive recount is needed in, like, I don't know, Florida? Because it's not like we've ever had that happen before.
Right.
Yeah. So
I am only concerned for those Democrats who would vote for Trump over Biden because of the rapey stuff.
They're not really Democrats. Well, it's not really the rapey. It's the allegations right now that so far don't have a lot of backup. The people that were going to vote for Trump over Biden are like, well, Biden's so bad, but Trump isn't as bad. And you're sitting there going, no, and you're using that as justification because you want to vote for Trump anyway. It's like the people are like that feel they're so left leaning that they can't vote for Biden because he's not who they wanted, so they're gonna like stick it to him by voting for Trump. Again, you're not really a Democrat at that point. Like,
right.
You're not voting the party, you're not voting the platform. What are you really voting for at this point? Is it just to be ornery? I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's to be ornery.
It's to be ornery. So onwards to other topics, because I feel like we've done a depressing corner here of Not So Light from Asteroid G news. Let's talk about stuff that's come out more recently. Josh, you are a Final Fantasy fan up to a point.
Yeah.
Up to a point. And that point is Final Fantasy IX, and everything that came out afterwards no longer exists.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation before, I think, on this podcast, actually.
I'm pretty sure we have.
What are your thoughts on the Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, but your thoughts. Like, are you going to play it? Do you care? Is it too Final Fantasy 15 for your tastes? Give me more.
I kind of want to play it just because I want to see if the story doesn't make sense still. And the graphics look pretty, and I've heard good things about like the combat system and whatnot, but I'm not a fan of how, from what I understand anyway, they're splitting the game up. So like you only get the first, like essentially the tutorial mission from the original Final Fantasy VII, which is maybe an eighth of the game, if that.
I've heard reports of it being maybe more like a 10th even.
Yeah, so like I don't want to spend close to $1,000 on Final Fantasy VII games, and that's like how many hours of gameplay? Like,
well, I think if you don't do all the side missions and everything, the main game of Final Fantasy VII Remake is already like 30 hours.
Yeah, so that's what I've heard too.
Yeah, you're talking like basically, if you wait until they all come out, you'll be spending most of 2025 like on it.
Yeah, and that's if it came out, because like they've been talking about this remake since the PlayStation 4 came out. Like, if memory serves, wasn't that one of the trailers? Like they had that fake trailer.
They did.
Yeah,
it's been like 10 years in development so far. Now they have the engine done, and while it's not above Square to do tweaks and changes to their engine as they go along, they have the engine done, so you would think they could crank out these games at a slightly faster pace, like a year or two between instead of 10 years between. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of... So...
And then,
I don't know. It just feels like a cash grab.
Yeah, it's totally a cash grab, but it's a cash grab with a slightly different plot.
Yeah, like I love Final Fantasy. Don't get me wrong, and 7 was okay. It's probably my least favorite.
I don't like the
original.
story of 7, and I don't like
Yeah.
the some of the graphics, like the weird, super deformed, chunky graphics in like the cutscenes loses me. I think the combat graphics where they're like pre-rendered and set up are gorgeous for the era, but I do love the gameplay of it. I really loved the materia system.
Yeah,
I thought the materia system was amazing.
And I think they went away from that in this new iteration a little bit.
That sucks, because that was the best part of it, was the whole materia system.
Mm-hmm.
Leveling it up and having it split and get more materia and then doing weird shit with all of it. I loved that. So
yeah, but I'll eventually play it. I keep telling myself I'm not, but I can't justify the cost.
Yeah,
and I can't remember the last time or any time like Square Enix games really grabbed me, like, because it always feels the same way. Like with Octopath Traveler, I buy it. Like, holy shit, this is an amazing game, and then I just stop playing it and I lose it.
Yeah, I'm halfway into Octopath, and I'm like, I love this game, but I'm not playing this game because I've already done all I really felt I needed to do in this game. Yeah.
It's just kind of like, eh.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something missing from their... I know we did this in a podcast before, but there's something missing from their games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, and it's just like... And I'm really racking my brain trying to figure out if I've played a Square Enix game recently that I liked.
I mean,
but I can't think of one.
I haven't really enjoyed a Square Enix game to the point where I'm like, oh man, I have to play this over and over again since Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, but that was Square Soft though.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying.
So
I mean, they're a merged company now, but that was the last Square game I really cared that much about.
Yeah, like. So. And they are remaking the Mana games, which is cool.
They are. Like, I don't know. The first two were basically straight remakes without much different except for the graphics. I've heard the third one at least goes farther afield.
Yeah. And I don't think it's come out yet, but...
No, it hasn't. Well, or it's going to soon.
The Trials of Mana?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it came out 2 days ago, I guess.
There you go. Well, there you go then. Go buy that, Josh, and tell me how it is.
Deal.
Cool.
But...
And then, of course, there's Animal Crossing, which is I feel bad for Final Fantasy VII Remake that it came out when it did, because I feel like more people are caring about Animal Crossing than they are about Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, like, because my friends who have both haven't said anything about Final Fantasy VII.
But they're obsessed with Animal Crossing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slavery with extra work.
And without an ending.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like those games remind me a lot of like Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley, but without even an end goal in place. The end goal is just basically paying your shit off, but there's nothing else for it after that.
Yeah, it's like a weird Minecraft Stardew Valley hybrid thing.
It is. It's very much a crafting kind of thing. So, but people, I mean, my wife is obsessed with it. I'm sure your kids are obsessed with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So, well, the one that can play video games. She's actually playing that right now.
Don't you limit the other one.
She doesn't have opposable thumbs.
What? I've seen her hand. She has opposable thumbs. What did you do to that child?
I'm just joking.
But yeah, it's kind of weird. Those are the best topics we have as far as actual nerdy things to talk about, because nothing else is being released but video games that were already in development.
Well, I read I'll have to find the source, but Diamond, who's the
comic books
comic book distributor, apparently DC orders are due on Monday. So,
well, DC has said that whether Diamond does it or not, they're still shipping their books.
Yeah. So that's it's a light at the end of the tunnel, but I'm kind of worried for the comic book industry as a whole, though, because I think this might be the final.
Yeah, I think a lot of comic book stuff is going to move straight online, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the age of print books, at least as far as single issues are concerned, may very well be dead after this. I think like a lot of digital issues that are static digital don't have like the weird animations that the comic book people try and do sometimes. I think those will come out in trade paperback format occasionally, so that people who want to buy physical copies can. But that's probably just going to go straight through like bookstores or Amazon or something, and even bookstores don't really exist anymore. I think comic book stores are going to die if they don't do other merchandise and have like an online presence. And like printed issues are definitely on their way out at this point.
Yeah, and I guarantee you that like I was really against like Kindles and whatnot, but I finally picked one up just because.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll go back to real books because like it feels like a book, and the second that like Amazon or Barnes and Noble or whoever figures out a way to get colored like e-ink displays, like it's comic books are done print wise. Like that's like if Warner Brothers was smart, that's what they would be investing in right now, is trying to figure out a way to make it tablet based.
Well, I mean, Warner's does have something that they're doing, and this has actually raised a point that I was going to make. DC Universe, their online streaming app, is not just like TV shows and movies, which is great, and I love watching their stuff. I got I got Queen Bee here caught up in Harlequin because it's just so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. And they have other good shows that are on there. But the fact that you can do not just TV and movies on there, but they also have like their own little like stream casts and everything, and then like a huge collection of comic books as well. All their like digital issues they're putting out. It's like a lot of the stuff that I'd want to read from them, I'm like, I'm already paying monthly for it now for the DC Universe. If I'm just going to read comics, I'm just going to read it through their app now. Like, why would I do anything else? And then if I really like a book, I'll just go buy the trade paperback afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I do too.
So yeah. We got anything else?
No, I think we've covered. Do you have any other things that need to be discussed in nerd news?
I think we're all nerd newsed up, and we'll just start saving up for the month of June then.
Okay.
Well then, this has been Not So Live from Asteroid G. I am Mike Finkelstein.
I'm Josh Shaver.
And I'm Queen Bee.
And we will see you at the news desk again next time.